Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My name is Muhammad Suleiman, and the title of our paper is Seawater Desalination Using Vacuum Membrane Distillation. So basically, water covers 70% of the total Earth surface, and almost 97% of the water is seawater, which is not drinkable because of its salty nature. And the remaining 3% is further divided into glacier, rivers, and lakes and groundwater. And the scarcity of fresh water is increasing with the passage of time. So what the solution is desalination of seawater. So we have used membrane distillation in this study, and specifically in membrane distillation, we have used vacuum membrane distillation, in which vacuum is applied on the permeate side, and because of vacuum there is a pressure gradient between the permeate side and the feed side. Because of that, vapors transport from the feed side to the permeate side. And in methodology, we have used the MathCAD software for the VMD model iteration, and we have used the MD020 CP2 and membrane module in our simulation. And these are the results and discussion. So we have studied different membrane characteristics and different feed parameters effect on the temperature polarization and the VMD flux. We have studied the membrane porosity, the membrane pore size, and the membrane porosity. These we have studied these effect on the temperature polarization phenomena and the VMD flux, that how it changes with the when we increase these membrane characteristic parameters. And we have also related our finding with the experimental results based on the feed temperature and on the feed velocity. And the conclusion, so these are the main conclusions drawn from this study, that the VMD flux increases with the increase in number of fibers, membrane porosity, and pore size, whereas it reduces with the increase in thickness of the membrane and membrane tortuosity, regardless of the feed velocity and temperature. The other thing is that the temperature polarization phenomena decreases with the increase in membrane thickness and membrane tortuosity, while increase with the increase in membrane porosity and membrane pore size. Lastly, we concluded that the increase in membrane pore size is more significant at higher values of feed temperature for enhancing the VMD flux. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Muhammad Suleiman, for your wonderful presentation. Now moving forward to our next presentation, which will be next presentation will be presented by Wasim Ahmad from Dawood University of Engineering and Technology, Karachi. And the poster title is Domestic Application of Hybrid Solar Collector for Wastewater Desalination by Using Photocatalytic Material and an Energy Challenge. Please, Wasim Ahmad, the floor is yours.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum to all of you. I am Wasim Ahmad Langa from Dawood University of Engineering and Technology. Currently doing MS in Chemical Engineering. As I am very much thankful to ICW 2021, especially to Farooq Ahmed Saab. My presentation topic is domestic application of hybrid solar collector for the wastewater desalination by using photocatalytic material as an energy challenge. As I'm very much thankful to Dawood University of Engineering and Technology, they were providing me such a platform, just allowing me to present myself in front of you. I choose this topic because the problem of drinking water day by day increasing. Around the globe, there are about 71% the problems of drinking water is, and it is jumping more on daily basis. We are living on the globe with a major problem of drinking water, a major issue of drinking water, as a major problem is salinity, fungi. Because there are so many places in Pakistan, especially, especially if we're talking about the groundwater, day by day it is contaminated due to the uncontrolled disposal of waste from different industries. So let's move on my methodology. The methodology is actually depending on the fabrication of hybrid solar collector and its capacity and pipes for circulation and a structure which I choose that is portable. I choose this model which is based on a photocatalytic material, especially I use the zinc oxide. As is shown in figure, as I set the top of the hybrid solar collector as absorber plate, I use aluminum sheet. After completing my this experimental work, after completion of this project, I found a number of the analysis, like I choose oil field sample, then Kaidabad, then Larkana. After being run these sample in solar hybrid collector, at the end I got the result that TDS initially was so high, but after being run in the hybrid solar collector, it becomes in normal range. So I can must say this project, this model intends towards the solution of the wastewater treatment, especially for the domestic areas, especially for the rural areas, those people who don't have access to reach and actually sustain a kind of sources of fresh drinking water. The main objective, the main aim of this project to intend the solutions towards the domestic drinking water, because people uncon- do not want the intake of contaminated water. There are a number of the health issues with them, especially the toxicity of the water. There are so many salinity issues. So I have choose this model, and I was guided by my supervisor, Dr. Abdar Ali Metlo. So I done it. I got the results, and these are the conclusion which I already told you. So that's all about here in my presentation.
Thank you so much, Wasim Ahmed, for your presentation. Our next poster is removal of metoprolol and propranolol from environmental waters by advanced oxidation process. It will be presented by Ms. Lobita from University of Serbia. Ms. Lobita, please start your presentation.
Hi, I'm Ljubica. I'm studying at the University of Serbia. My topic was removal of metoprolol and propranolol from environmental waters by advanced oxidation processes. The presence of pharmaceutical products in aquatic environments is increasing over years. Photolysis is considered as an adequate ecologic approach from a removal metoprolol and propranolol because it has a chemical-free nature, but the process isn't efficient. Physicochemical characterization of waters enabled us to explain how the presence of different ions affect the degradation of metoprolol and propranolol. Further, the experiments proposed an effective way for mineralization of organic and their degradation products which could be more toxic than parent compounds. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Lobita, for presenting your comprehensive research. So moving forward, our next presentation is influence of water composition from cities Lozinka and Verbas on efficiency of photocatalytic degradation of selected beta blockers in mixture. This poster will be presented by Malinko from University of Novi Sad, Serbia. Mr. Malinko, please start your presentation.
Hello, my name is Milinko. I'm studying at University of Novi Sad, Faculty of Sciences. The topic of my work is influence of water composition from cities Loznica and Vrbas on the efficiency of photocatalytic degradation of selected beta blockers in mixture. This study aimed to perform a detailed comparative study of the kinetics of photolysis and photocatalysis of metoprolol and propranolol under simulated solar irradiation in different water types: ultrapure, spring water, iron water, and canal water DTD. Commercial catalyst zinc oxide as an effective catalyst for degradation of metoprolol and propranolol was used. Results of mineralization has shown efficiency of removal of intermediates that are incurred during the degradation process. In ultrapure mineralization, the mixture was 71%, while in iron water and the DTD mineralization was 19% and 87%. Based on the results, it can be concluded that the composition of water significantly degradation of metoprolol and propranolol. Also, zinc oxide showed as acceptable. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Malinko, for your wonderful presentation. Our next presentation is our next poster presentation is titled as Assessment of Water Quality Used by Poultry Butchers for Presence of E. coli and Salmonella and Shigella and Determination of Antibiotic Resistance. This poster will be presented by Sadaf Tagar from Mehran University of Engineering and Technology, Jamshoro. Sadaf, the floor is yours. Please start your presentation.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My work is on assessment of water quality which is used by poultry butchers for the presence of E. coli, Salmonella and Shigella and the determination of antibiotic resistance. So I'm starting directly with the introduction. The water used by poultry butchers for cleaning their hands and slaughtering tools make there's a transfer of pathogens to the human body via meat consumption. So the use of the same water throughout the day may give rise to the disease-causing pathogens, that is Salmonella, Shigella, and E. coli. So my research has two ends. One is to analyze the presence of hygiene indicator bacteria, and second is to determine the antimicrobial resistance of Salmonella. I have divided my methodology in 5 parts. First of all, I collect the samples. 39 samples were collected. Then I prepared the agar and I serially diluted the agar. And after that, I isolate the bacteria and determine its antibiotic resistance. This is the process of serial dilution. Then for culturing of bacteria, I use Salmonella, Shigella agar, and colonies of all 3 bacteria were identified on the basis of their morphological characteristics, and then black colonies were subcultured on another SS agar plate. For culturing of bacteria, after that I use 2 conformity tests, triple sugar iron agar test, and second is the urease test. And then this is a process for antibiotic resistance, and the results, all 3 bacteria were present in the meat samples in high quantity. Like 71% were positive for Salmonella, 78 samples were positive for Shigella, and 64% of samples were positive for E. coli. These are the results of this diffusion test. Ampicillin shows the highest resistant, while the least resistant was shown by ceftazidime. And this is for CFU count. Only 2 samples were having 0 CFU count, while 25% of samples were having more than 2000 CFU count. This is a conclusion. The poultry butcher shops are using the poor quality water with higher rate of disease-causing pathogens. So to improve the quality of water, there's a need to create the awareness and moreover regular monitoring of poultry butcher shops is also necessary. These are some of the limitations of the study. Like this study was not collected in samples were not collected in duplicate, and the antibiotic resistance of other bacteria were not determined. These are the references. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadaf, for your wonderful presentation. Our next poster is thiosulfate oxidizing bacteria biopsy for detection of heavy metals in water lab scale study. This poster will be presented by Rafia Khanzada from Mehran University of Engineering and Technology, Jamshoro. Rafia, you may proceed now with your presentation.
Start with the name of Allah, who is the most merciful and the beneficent. Assalamu alaikum. Myself Rafia Khanzada. I'm your facilitator for this presentation with the title Thiosulfate Oxidizing Bacteria Biopsy for the Detection of Heavy Metals in Water, a Lab Scale Study. First, the overview. Industrial and the domestic effluent contaminated the water courses. This study used the wild-type top biopsy for the detection of zinc toxicity in water by using pH and electrical conductivity and EC50 as the determining parameters. Now, introduction. Biopsy used for the detection of toxicant and its effect on the biotic environment. Methodology rely on the oxidation of thiosulfate by top, which increase the electrical conductivity by the production of sulfate and decrease the pH by increasing the hydrogen ion concentration. Now the objectives first to design the master culture reactor, and the second determine the toxicity of zinc in water. Now methodology. MCR was fabricated for the accumulation of bacteria by using sludge of bioreactor, and it was operated at the fat batch. Now batch study. While glass of 20 ml was used for the reactors, and zinc chloride used as a toxic chemical with a concentration of 0.25 to 10 ppm with the incubation of 24 hours. EC and the pH used as the monitoring parameter, and sigma plot used as the statistical analysis. Now result. This graph of MCR shows that showed the pH and EC change with time at the fat batch mode for the 90 days. Now the batch test with the zinc increasing the zinc concentration, the pH was changed from acidic to neutral, and the EC change was stopped, and the inhibition rate of top activity was 0 to 90% with the EC50 of 0.75 ppm. Now conclusion. Top was effective method for the zinc contamination determination, and it in future it can be used for the detection of different pollutants in environment. These are the references for this study. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafia Khanzada, for your presentation. Moving to our next poster presentation. Our next presenter is Nayab Raza from Mehran University of Engineering and Technology, Jamshoro. The poster title is Treatment of Real Textile Wastewater in Single Stage and Microalgae Bacteria Consortium. Over to you, Nayab. Please start your presentation.
Hello, myself Nayab Raza from USPCASW. My research topic is treatment of real textile wastewater using microalgae and microalgae bacteria consortium. Starting with the graphical abstract and the introduction, using in my research, unchecked disposal of textile wastewater into water bodies is causing eutrophication. Textile wastewater is a cheap source for the cultivation of microalgae and bacteria, as it contains essential nutrients, inorganic and organic, and different type of dyes as a carbon source. In the current study, nutrient nitrate, phosphate, and COD were removed from the textile wastewater by using microalgae alone and microalgae bacteria consortium. The consortium of microalgae and bacteria showed maximum removal efficiency as compared to microalgae alone. The consortium of microalgae and bacteria proved highly effective in treatment of real textile wastewater. Now, switching to the detailed methodology, real textile wastewater was collected from the artistic dairy mill, Karachi, and the microalgae sample was collected from local canal and growth in BG11 media. While for the bacterial growth, the textile wastewater inoculated in the nutrient agar followed by nutrient growth method. Now, description of my research: in a single stage process, 0.5 gram per liter of biomass was added into the 500 ml of autoclave real textile wastewater under the continuous aeration and light intensity. On the other hand, the microalgae bacteria consortium, 0.5 gram per liter of biomass and microalgae, 0.1 gram per liter of inocular bacteria was added into the under same condition. Moving towards the analysis of the nutrient removal efficiency, in a reactor, ascorbic acid method used for the phosphate, a salicylic acid method for the nitrate, and open reflex method used for the chemical oxygen demand. To check the removal efficiency, resultantly, in a single stage process, 24.28% nitrate, 46.42% phosphate, and 53.33% COD was removed, whereas in a consortium process, 94.13% nitrate, 96.29% phosphate, and 95.63% of COD was removed during the consortium process. Conclusively, in this study, it is found that the microalgae and bacteria were used for the treatment of rare textile wastewater. Microalgae alone is not very effective in a rare treatment of rare textile wastewater as compared to consortium provide a high removal efficiency. Here is my references. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Mohammad Usman from PMAS Arid Agriculture University, Rawalpindi. The poster title is Surface Groundwater Reciprocity Scenarios for Sustainably Irrigated Agriculture in Rachna Doab. Mohammad Usman, please proceed with your presentation.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Mohammad Usman, and today I am presenting my topic Surface Groundwater Reciprocity Scenarios for Sustainable Irrigated Agriculture in Rachna Doab. As everybody knows, the Pakistan inherited with the world's largest surface irrigation system, but this system operates at very low efficiencies and for very high cropping intensity. Therefore, groundwater contribute as an alternate source to fulfill the crop water demands. And anomalies in groundwater recharge and discharge cause serious threat to irrigated agriculture. Therefore, the present research was conducted to study the groundwater and surface water reciprocities. And this research was conducted in the area of Rachna Doab, that and two subdivisions, Buralla and Lobo Gugera, was studied, and groundwater model was developed using ModFlow, and ArcGIS software was used for data handling. And three different scenarios were developed in this study. Scenario P involved the present status of the groundwater abstraction and recharge, and scenario Q represent the groundwater quality. And in this scenario, we apply 20% more abstraction from fresh groundwater zone and 20% more supply to hazardous groundwater zones. And scenario D, based on the groundwater depth zones, in scenario D, we supply 20% more water to deep groundwater zone and abstract 20% more water from shallow groundwater zones. And here are the if we observed in results, the figure number two represents the different groundwater depth zones, three zones: shallow, medium, marginal, and deep groundwater zones. And figure number 3 represents the groundwater quality zones, a fresh groundwater quality zone in the blue and poor hazardous groundwater quality zone in the pink color. And we observed in our studies that presently there is no threat to groundwater, because groundwater recharge is more as compared to discharge from the groundwater, as 1.09 times to the power 6. Here is the 6.3 times to the power 6 meter cube per day is the recharge in the model domain, and 5.75 times to the power 6 is meter cube per day is the discharge from the aquifer. Presently, there is no threat to groundwater, but if we continue abstracting more water from fresh groundwater zone that is located around the river Ravi, then groundwater would decline more rapidly. Groundwater would decline more rapidly at the rate of 0.2 to 2.33 meter per year. And if we abstract more water from shallow groundwater zone under scenario D, then groundwater would rise in all irrigation administrative units. And here is the scenario trend for two divisions and 6 subdivisions shown in the map. And we safely conclude from this study that the scenario D as the most suitable strategy in curtailing the inequity of irrigation in head, tail, and perspectives. And we should abstract more water from shallow groundwater zone, and we should restrict the more pumpage and more abstraction from from fresh water quality zones. Thanks.
Thank you, Usman, for your presentation. Now we will move to our next presenter, Namra Latif from University of Engineering and Technology, Lahore. Her poster title is Expanded Clay Inspired Geopolymer Beads Through Microwave Irradiation for Water Conservation Purposes. Nimra, the floor is yours. Please start your presentation.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Namra Latif and I am from the University of Engineering and Technology, Lahore. The research I will present is titled Expanded Clay Inspired Geopolymer Beads Through Microwave Irradiation for Water Conservation Purposes. This research presents geopolymer foam as water-retaining materials for agricultural applications, keeping in view that the major source of income of Pakistan is associated with agriculture, and globally it is estimated that around 70% of fresh water is bounded to agriculture. Such statistics urge the need for efficient water retention systems for crops that also serve to conserve the water. Geopolymer beads, therefore, can be revolutionary material in this regard due to their superior water retention properties. Preparation of high-strength geopolymer foams was attained by slurry curing twice in a microwave oven, obtained from mixing natural soil and sodium silicate as the activating agent. Incorporation of sodium bicarbonate and water serve the purposes of foam swelling and plasticity respectively. The mechanical characterization of the resulting samples comprise the compressive strength test. A few of the compositions showed high porosity combined with adequate compressive strength. To infer the microstructural details, chemical characterization, and degree of polymerization, SEM, EDX, and FTIR analysis were performed. The water solubility test and water tension test results exhibited that a few of the compositions were entirely water insoluble due to aluminosilicate linkage and could store water in a reasonable ratio. The results justify geopolymer foams as potential candidates for water retention in agricultural applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Namra, for your wonderful presentation. Now, our next presenter is Mukhtiar Ali from Nanjing University of Science and Technology, China. And his poster title is Synthesis of TCF-based fluorescent probe for water and soil analysis application. Mukhtiar Ali, please start your presentation.
Hello audience, this is Mukhtiar Ali from Qaid-e-Awam University of Engineering, Science and Technology. I did my research on fluorescence probe in my master's studies at Nanjing University of Science and Technology, Nanjing, China. My presentation title is Synthesis of a TCF-based fluorescence probe for water and soil analysis applications. As we know, we humans are producing so much pollution on Earth which causes adverse effects on ecosystem. Because of fast growth of economy, the common existence of numerous environmentally associated contaminants has become more and more serious which damage human health. Thus, it is required to develop technique with simple and selective performance for analysis of contaminants which damage human health. Currently, several techniques have been applied to analysis of pollutants, including atomic absorption spectroscopy, inductive coupled plasma mass spectroscopy, and others. These all have few drawbacks. Scientists have developed new techniques called fluorescence. Fluorescence is the emerging field for prompt and accessible detection of pollutants. In my research, I produced a new fluorescence probe from 4A and 6P compound. Their structures are given in my poster presentation and produced 7A compound. My reaction time was 2 hours and at 80 degrees centigrade temperature, and my solvent was ethyl alcohol. My fluorescence probe structure was analyzed by NMR and mass spectrum. My fluorescence probe was utilized for the detection of different ions from different solutions like sodium bromide, sodium fluoride, sodium bisulfate, sodium bicarbonate, sodium chlorate, and ferric and cupric solutions. These fluorescence spectrums shows no these fluorescence probe spectrum shows no change in the fluorescence, so our fluorescence probe cannot be used for the detection of these contaminants which are given here, and but we can use our fluorescence probe for the detection of different ions in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukhtar Ali, for your comprehensive presentation. So moving forward to our next presenter, Muhammad Awais from Bahauddin Zakir University, Multan. And he will be presenting his poster titled as Sugarcane Trash Management Strategies in Field to Control Environmental Pollution, a short review. Muhammad Awais, please, you may continue with your presentation.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Awais. I am a presentation topic is sugarcane trash management strategy in the field to control environmental pollution. Short review. These are my group mates. Let's talk about abstract. In the conventional practice, the sugarcane trash after harvesting is usually burned in the field, which ultimately leads to loss of nutrients. This paper presents a short review on the trash management approaches and strategies used in the field. Sugarcane is a major source of income for Pakistan and plays an important role in the agricultural and industrial sector of Pakistan. It is the second largest cash crop of Pakistan, which is usually harvested both mechanically and manually. After manual harvesting, it is very difficult for the farmers to handle the trash in the field, so the remaining sugarcane trash is burned in the field. Many disadvantages occur during the burning of sugarcane trash, like emission of greenhouse gases, emission of aerosol and trace gases, which are very hazardous for public health. For saving the environment from pollution and improve soil fertility, sugarcane trash shredder is used worldwide. That machine cuts sugarcane leaves into very small pieces. The purpose of study to find out the impact of trash management strategies on the environment. Let's talk about methodology. There were three trash management strategies were used. First one is conventional strategy. As sugarcane farmers facing the problem of trash management of crop, so they adopt the conventional method for trash removing from the field and burn the whole trash in the field. Second one is residual retention or mulching. Compared with burning, the organic matter content in the soil was considerably increased compared to waste retention. Third one is mechanical handling strategies in sugarcane farming. The detrashing technology is the major step toward improving soil fertility and save the environment. In sugarcane trash, use the sugarcane trash uses the sugarcane stubble chopper and sugarcane trash shredders, single and double row. Trash shredder can be used for in situ shredding of sugarcane leaves in the field. It minimizes the bulky trash to be managed at harvesting. Let's talk about results. As estimated, directly greenhouse gas emission from cane burning is assumed up to 12,204 kg carbon dioxide per hectare, which is translates to about 37% of the total greenhouse gas emission in the cane production of the farm. For this experiment, the detrashing equipment was developed in Department of Agricultural Engineering, DRU Multan, and these were some results. Trash shredders minimize the bulky trash to be managed at harvest time about 12 to 20 ton per hectare. With detrashing, fewer trashes 60% remains after harvest. This could pave the way to complete the stop of burning at trashes. The detrashing leaves activate the microbes, start decomposition, and reduce fertilizer use. One of the trash shredder studies gives us its important environmental pollution control. The length of trash varied from 43.18 cm to 185.42 cm. The average length was found to be 113.6 cm. The length of the trash after the shredding operation varied from 3.2 to 9.7 cm, and the average length was found to be 5.151 cm. Conclusion. From the study, it is concluded that mulching and mechanical shredding in the field is cost saving, improve soil properties, increase yield, especially decrease the overall energy input and carbon emission in sugarcane production and during trash management. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad Awais. Ladies and gentlemen, our next presenter is Sadia Hashmi from Bahria University, Karachi. She will be presenting his poster titled as Spatial Distribution of Carbon Monoxide in Karachi, Pakistan. Sadia, please start your presentation.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sadia Hashmi from the Bahia University Karachi campus. The topic for my poster presentation is Spatial Distribution of Carbon Monoxide in Karachi. Karachi is an expanding metropolitan city where urbanization settlements are at rapid rate. So this study was conducted on the busy street or the roadside of the Karachi in order to monitor the carbon monoxide concentration in environment. Carbon monoxide is usually considered as a major greenhouse gas, and it has a very devastating effect on the human health because of the release of the carbon monoxide in the environment from the vehicles, especially use of the old vehicles. That is a very common practice in Karachi. For this study, the data logger portable device was used in order to monitor the carbon monoxide concentration of 25 different sampling stations during the rush hours at 2 different heights, that is the 2 meters and the 15 meters. For this study, different GIS techniques was also used in order to show the concentration of the CO by making the maps. The concentration of the CO was usually shown in the map at 2 different heights. How much the result, it actually depicts that at 2 meter height we found the more concentration of this carbon monoxide as compared to the 15 meters. So the monitoring of the carbon monoxide in the study was found above the ambient air quality standard. The current road system in Karachi, it cannot meet to the demand of the exponential increase in the number of the vehicles, and the problem is being provoked by the using of the old vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadia, for your presentation. Now moving forward to our next presenter, Irfan Ali from FAST University, Lahore. And his poster title is Reducing Plastic Bags from the Environment. Irfan Ali, house is yours. Please start your presentation.
This is Irfan Ali from National University of Computer and Emerging Science, Department of Civil Engineering, Lahore, presenting my research finding for the project entitled Reducing Plastic Bags from the Environment. As we know, consumption of plastic bags is a challenging environmental problem around the world. The principal reasons for incorporating the plastic bags in concrete was to evaluate the mechanical property of concrete. For this research, 6 number of mixtures were used with varying percentage of waste plastic bags. In addition, the study was aimed to eliminate waste plastic bags from the society by adding varying percentage of waste plastic bags in concrete. According to the experimental results, by increasing the waste plastic bags in concrete, flexural and spelt tensile strength of concrete increased by certain level. On the other hand, compressive and pull-out strength of concrete were declined. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next poster is Comparative Thermal Study of Exhaust Manifold of a Diesel Engine Coated with High Temperature Resistant Ceramic Materials. This poster will be presented by Saad Ahmed from Ghulam Ishaq Khan Institute. Saad, please proceed with your presentation.
Hello to everyone, hope you all are doing well. My name is Saad Ahmed and I'm currently doing Masters in Mechanical Engineering from Ghulam Ishaq Khan Institute of Engineering Science and Technology, Topi KPK, Pakistan. Today I am here for the Today I am here for poster presentation in International Conference of Energy, Water, Environment. I am also the group member of BML Research Group on GIC Institute under the supervision of Dr. Ali Turab Jafri. I am today presenting my work on comparative thermal study of exhaust manifold diesel engine coated with high temperature resistant ceramic materials. My group members are Dr. Ali Turab Jafri, Mutibul Haq, and Numan Shanawaz. The aim of this research was to reduce the thermal stresses generated in the conventional cast iron exhaust manifold of a diesel engine to save the life of manifold and the environment from high exhaust gas temperature, for which two different aluminum titanate and mullite ceramic materials were applied in the internal coating of exhaust manifold with coating thickness of 200, 300, 400 microns, and was then the three different analyses were conducted. First of all, the exhaust exhaust gases were simulated as in a CFD for ANSYS fluent from ANSYS fluent, and the results were then imported to the thermal analysis module of the ANSYS, and then the temperature and heat flux results for then imported to the static structure analysis for the analyzing the thermal stresses. So we concluded that in case of mullite, in coating thickness up to a range of 200 300 microns of coating thickness, the thermal stress is reduced by 64% as compared to conventional cast iron exhaust manifold, while the heat flux increased by little amount as compared to aluminum titanate, but it was also fruitful in terms of saving the manifold from a corrosion as well. So we can see that temperature, we also got good results in terms of temperature in case of mullite, but after 300 microns of coating thickness, as results of heat flux and thermal stress goes on increasing, we found that it was the critical thickness basically. So we can say that mullite with 200 to 300 microns of coating thickness is the best coating material for the exhaust manifold of a diesel engine to be internally coated to save the exhaust manifold life and as well as environment by reducing the exhaust gas temperature. Thank you so much. I am here available for entertaining your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saad, for your wonderful presentation. So moving forward to our next presentation from Stella Markovic from Bosnia, and his poster title is Understanding the Interaction Between Carbon Nanotube and Ephedrine Molecules Applying DFT Calculation and MD Simulation. Markovic, the floor is yours. Please start your presentation.
Dear colleagues, greetings. My name is Stevan Markovic, and I am an assistant professor of physics at the Faculty of Sciences of the University of Novi Sad. I'm also a board president of the Association for the International Development of Academic and Scientific Collaboration, which we like to call AIDASCO. It is my pleasure to participate in this great event, and today I will present you the results of our study entitled Understanding the Interactions Between Carbon Nanotubes and the Ephedrine Molecule Applying Density Functional Theory Calculations and Molecular Dynamic Simulations. Properties of the ephedra plant are known for centuries. The most important active component of this plant is called the ephedrine, which has been used as a medication, stimulant, precursor for the synthesis of illicit drugs. Ephedrine is frequently used and presents a serious threat from an environmental standpoint as well. Carbon nanotubes are well-known representatives of organic nanostructures, and significant attention has been focused on this class of materials as adsorbents of selected molecular species. The analysis of electron density indicated that 7 non-covalent interactions are formed between the carbon nanotube and ephedrine. This is depicted as dotted lines in Figure 1. The 2 non-covalent bonds involving the oxygen atom of ephedrine are strongest of all. The large number of non-covalent interactions explains the high binding energy, which was calculated to be minus 11.52 kilocalories per mole. Regarding the radial distribution functions, the slightly narrower GFR curve in case of the oxygen indicates that this atom interacts stronger with the carbon nanotube than oxygen. The current voltage curve clearly indicates that the presence of ephedrine has significant influence to electronic system of carbon nanotube. Namely, as depicted in figure 4, when the ephedrine is absorbed by carbon nanotube, the current intensity significantly increases. This result also indicates that the carbon nanotube could be very sensitive towards the presence of ephedrine molecule, which could be useful for the development of efficient devices for the detection of ephedrine based on carbon nanotube. Thank you for your attention. If you have some questions, feel free to contact.
Stella Marquis, thank you so much for your comprehensive presentation. Our next presenter is Malik Ashir Murtaza from Government College University, Lahore. His poster title is A Detailed Assessment of Lahore Smoke to Prevent Its Reoccurrence with Special Emphasis over the Distribution of Particulate Matter. Mr. Ashir, please start your presentation.
Hello, it is Malik Ashir Murtaza. I am an MPhil student at Government College University, Lahore. I am here to present my poster in International Conference on Energy, Water and Environment. The topic of my research was a detailed assessment of Lahore smoke to prevent its reoccurrence with a special emphasis over the distribution of particulate matter. I chose this topic because currently the air pollution is one of the most fatal environmental problems that is faced by the people. According to the World Bank, nearly 4.2 million deaths are occurred due to the exposure of PM 2.5. And according to World Bank 2016 report, developing countries like Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh are more vulnerable to the effects of the air pollution. Nearly 96% of the non-fatal illnesses and diseases occur in the developing countries due to the air pollution, and it is one of the fifth global risk factor for the mortality rate. The research was conducted at SDSC Department, GC University, Lahore. For this, we used the dual dust air sampler that was manufactured at the lab in Lounge. First of all, we used the gravimetric analysis for conducting this research. We pre-weighed the filter papers, then placed them in the filter assembly as shown in this picture here, and after a 12-hour cycle, we take the filter out of the filter paper assembly and then post weigh. The difference in the weight gives us the concentration of the particulate matter. These are the specifications of the instrument. It is dual dust air sampler, and it was run for 12 hours in day and night separately. And we used around about 16 to 17 liter per minute flow rate of the air. The specificity of the filter papers are that it was a Waltzman quartz filter paper, and it was cut into the round shape. Now coming to the results and discussion, as you can see in these graphs, the concentration of PM 2.5 and PM 10 are way above the level defined by WHO and EPA. Particularly this orange line, which represents the night concentration, is high, both for PM 2.5 and both for PM 10. To assess the socioeconomic perspective of this, we took the patient's data from different hospitals, and as you can see, from November till January, the number of patients having acute respiratory diseases, asthma, TB suspects have been increased in these 4 months. And these are the pictures of a few filter papers. As you can see, we have placed the white filter paper in the filter assembly, and you can see from the color of the filter paper that at what level the pollution occurred in Lahore in 2019 to October to 2020 January. The purpose of this study was that the Pakistan laid the proper profile of monitoring of air. There are only 6 monitoring stations in Lahore that are particularly conducting the monitoring of air pollutants, and the insufficient data is available due to the non-transparent and inconsistent monitoring. That data, I think so, is not reliable for developing the profile of air pollution of Lahore. Thank you.
Thank you, Malik Ashe Murtaza. Now we will move to our next presenter, Muhammad Hamza Zulfikar from University of Engineering and Technology, Lahore, New Campus. His poster title is Eco-Friendly Temperature Sensor for Indoor Environment Monitoring. Muhammad Hamza, please start your presentation.
Myself Zishan Haider from session 2017 Biomedical Engineering Center, UT Lahore. The topic I am going to present is eco-friendly temperature sensor for indoor environment monitoring. Humans spend about 87% of their time in indoor environment and 6% in vehicles. So it is important to fully comprehend the factors affecting indoor environment quality. Indoor temperature higher or lower than 18 to 23 degrees Celsius cause discomfort and affect the performance of humans and machines. The project consists of 3 layers as shown in figure 1. First, we fabricate an eco-friendly and low-cost interdigitated capacitor IDC temperature sensor. The fabrication of paper-based IDC sensor involves 4 steps: designing, printing, penciling, and electrode wiring. Secondly, the fabricated IDC sensor connected to an Arduino and then test this IDC sensor as a temperature sensor by seeing effect of increasing or decreasing temperature artificially on IDC sensor. The artificial environment for temperature can be seen in figure 3. In third layer, after the processing of the data, the sensor data shown in graphical format as shown in figure 4. The result shows that the increase in temperature decreases the capacitance of IDC temperature sensor in same trend. After attaining graphical format, we can use it to perform any action. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamza, for your wonderful presentation. Moving forward to our next presenter, Faika Parvez from University of Engineering and Technology, Lahore. She will be presenting her poster titled Solar Still Application in Wastewater Treatment through Advanced Oxidation Process. Faika Parvez, please start with your presentation.
Assalamualaikum, ladies and gentlemen. I am Abdul Hai Nadeem, and today I want to tell you about solar still application in wastewater treatment through advanced oxidation process. Advanced oxidation process using Fenton reagent. Advanced oxidation process is emerging alternative technology for efficient removal of organic wastewater pollutant with low biodegradability and high chemical stability. AOPs are used primarily for the destruction of organic and inorganic pollutants in wastewater and water. When AOPs used for wastewater treatment, they have radicals that act as strong oxidizing agent that destroy wastewater pollutants, convert into less or even non-toxic products. Iron is the most frequently used metal to activate S2O2 and produce hydroxyl radicals in water. In the process, S2O2 react with Fe2 ions to generate reactive species. These species are called the hydroxyl radicals. Now we will look at the solar steel construction. Solar steel is actually made of stainless steel and it is covered by a glass which let the light to pass easily through it, because in solar steel we entrap the sun rays, or you can say UV rays, to react with wastewater, and we also use glass wool in it so that it can absorb the maximum heat inside, so that the reaction could be maximum. We use weirs for retaining the water and to provide retention time. So here you can see the solar steel structure. So further on, I would like to tell you about solar steel working. The stepped solar steel is the same as conventional solar steel, but in addition, its absorber plate is made up of number of steps. The depth of water in the solar steel inversely affects the productivity of solar steel. It is a very difficult task to maintain the minimum depth of contaminated water at the base of pool of water in conventional system. So steps in solar steel reduce the depth of water. Water movement due to gravity reduce the stay of water as well as depth and increase its productivity. So here I would like to conclude and hope so you like it and you can ask any question. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Mohammed Usman Bajwa from Corvinus University of Budapest, Hungary. He will be presenting his poster titled Analytical Study on Residents' Perception Concerning Adaptation of Green Roofs, Case Study of Metropolitan City, Lahore, Pakistan. Mohammed Usman Bajwa, please start with your presentation.
I am Mohammed Usman Bajwa, presently pursuing Masters in City and Region Planning from the University of Engineering and Technology, Lahore, along with my co-author Mr. Abdul Rahman, who is doing a PhD in University of Malaya. So the basic purpose of this study was to analyze and examine the perception of Lahore citizens, considering the adaptation of green roofs and under the jurisdiction of Lahore. So mainly the paper was focused if green roofs should be introduced considering the local environment of Lahore due to the rapid urbanization as well as population growth. Lahore is seriously facing some environmental issues considering as the smog as well as the air pollution due to heavy traffic congestion along the major arteries of Lahore city. So this study was conducted by a design questionnaire, and we have conducted a questionnaire interviews from the residents of Lahore. The sample size was calculated by using the Solon's formula, and the sample was around 400. The main attributes which were included in the analysis was how adaptation of green roofs can be ensured. So when it was analyzed through the regression analysis, so it was examined that it is not dependent on the awareness of green roofs among the stakeholders as well as LDA or Metropolitan Corporation. They should ensure some bylaws in their building bylaws to ensure the promotion or the endorsement of green roofs in the existing as well as the new buildings. Secondly, it can also encourage the sustainable environment if we promote the green roofs in building designs. So mainly it was also argued that cost of green roofs when they are designing or when they are adopting in their existing or new buildings. So ultimately it is going to cost the residents of Lahore. So mainly it was analyzed that adaptation of green roofs, it is dependent on the awareness among the stakeholders, because we need to endorse this technology in Lahore as well as in other mega cities of Pakistan. So in results, when we asked the residents during the survey about the awareness level of green roofs, so around 58% of the people from the sample, they were aware about this technology, but considering that factor, around 41.3% people, they are not totally aware about the green roofs. And secondly, we also analyzed the willingness to adapt green roofs. So around 50% people, they were strongly agree, considering the environmental pollution of Lahore. They agreed that they want to adapt green roofs. So mainly, these were the factors which we analyzed in this paper. Considering that data analysis, it shows that there is a dire need to immediately or on urgent basis, development authorities as well as the development agencies, along with Metropolitan Corporation Lahore, they should design a policy framework for the adaptation of green roofs in their building design.
Thank you so much, Mohammed Usman Bajwa, for your wonderful presentation. Now moving forward to our next poster, modeling and recycling of ablution water with filtration technology at Data Shrine, Lahore. It will be presented by Waqas Nazir Awan from University of Lahore. Waqas Nazir Awan, please start with your presentation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Waqas Nazir Awan, and the topic I'm going to present here is modeling and recycling of ablution water with filtration technology at Data Shrine, Lahore. Now, the basis of the study is Pakistan's immense upcoming water crisis, where Pakistan is only left with 53 million acre feet of surface and 24 million acre feet of underground water supplies. In business as usual scenario, by 2025, Pakistan will be facing an acute shortage of around 33 million acres feet. So, considering its potential in many applications, this study has identified the water saving potential through a case study of Data Shrine in Lahore, where daily water usage is around 0.1 million liters. Okay, so as far as methodology is concerned, scenario-based modeling is used to check the water demand under business as usual, short-term, medium-term, and long-term scenarios, where recycling of 0, 30, 50, and 100% water through use of filtration framework has been taken into account, while taking 2050 as the MEF. The results obtained from the model are depicted in a graph as shown in the figure. Okay, this graph shows how much water can be saved in different scenarios up to year 2020 and 2050. Now, we can easily see that a lot of potential by 2025 or 2030 or 2050 even, we can save up to 45 million liters of water in a single year. Now, although currently the technology is not that cheap, and the use of aqua water drop treatment plant will cost around 1.13 million rupees annually, with energy utilization of around 13 megawatt hour. Due to this, we can save, due to this, we can save around 1,212 million tons of water till 2050. It is a sustainable water mechanism, and hence, due to this, we can improve the water storage capacity. Thank you.
It will be presented by Mohammed Usman from Ghulam Ishaq Khan Institute, and the poster title is Electrochemical Behavior of Composite Anode Towards Recalcitrant Dye Wastewater Decontamination. Mohammed Usman, the floor is yours. Please start with your presentation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Dr. Sijab Hussain, and topic of my presentation is electrochemical behavior of composite anode toward recalcitrant dye wastewater decontaminations. Our country has a lot of textile industries, and all these industries use dye to colorize their products, and after application of these dyes, it goes to the wastewater and contaminated our environment. Over here we represent